one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Can we have a roll call, please?
Covert.
Here.
Crowner.
Here.
Johnson.
Here.
Lees.
Here.
Young.
Here. Need a motion to perfect and approve the agenda.
And move to approve the agenda as presented.
Support.
Motion with support.
Could we move item 2 off of the consent agenda?
You want to talk about that later, or is that what you're doing? Or removing it, period?
Just off the consent agenda on its own.
Okay.
We'll add that as a number 5 under new business.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Now we need a motion for the consent agenda.
Motion approved.
Support.
Motion with support. Any questions, comments, or concerns? I see we have a young lady here from the library. You want to come up and chit-chat at this point? I know you've got some things to do at home.
Do you want to vote on the consent agenda first?
Well, did we not?
Not vote.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? You're on.
Well, hi, everyone. Thanks for having me here tonight. I see there's at least just one new council person since I was here last. Just to give you some context, I'm Brittany Jacobs, the director at the Burlington Public Library, and West Burlington contracts with us for library services through a 28E agreement, and we're in the first couple of years of a 10-year agreement with that. I'm here today formally to request pool passes for summer reading 2024. Last year we had about 600 kids who came through summer reading with our program in June, July, and this year we're anticipating a few more. We've partnered with the forestry department this year for a Read to Grow initiative. And so rather than coming in every week to receive an item or a tchotchke, we're trying to take some of that energy and funnel it toward a communal well-being. And so you're going to be able to exchange your reading credit to plant a tree in the community. And so we're aiming to plant 50 trees collectively with everybody participating. It's an all-ages program this year. The pool passes that we're requesting are just for children, and they do have a few incentives sprinkled throughout the 8 weeks that we're running the program. And it's always been a really well-received incentive that they get to be able to go to the pool here in West Burlington. So if you're all in favor, then we would greatly appreciate that. You should have gotten a letter in your packet explaining summer reading a bit, but I'm always available if you've got any questions or suggestions or comments about anything that we're doing down at the library.
Brittany, do you know how many pool passes you gave out last year?
We gave out all of them. So last year was about 600. I don't have the exact number in front of me, but yeah, we had 1,500 participants,
Wow.
600 of which were children.
And they all each got a pool pass.
Mm-hmm.
So that's 600 more customers we had at the pool that we probably wouldn't have had.
Yeah, and I don't know if your pool keeps we have passes that we stamp every year, so you can't replicate them. Oop. And I don't know if your pool collects them and then crunches those numbers.
We do collect them, and I meant to ask Katie to look up and see how many were returned. I don't think it was 600. It's usually around 125 to 200.
Okay.
Actually redeemed.
Are redeemed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Third.
Thank you.
600 sounded like a lot, I thought. I didn't think it was that many.
The summer reading program is a fun initiative for the kids. Does anybody else have any questions for her?
I'll just comment, I really love all the new interesting programming you're doing at the library.
Thank you.
Getting outside of the book box, if you will, from
Yeah.
growing things to maintaining computers to the tree stuff, the mural on the wall. It's just really fun to walk through there or read about what you're doing and
Thank
your
you.
engagement with the community. Appreciate that.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Or
You
do
will.
No, go
Sorry,
ahead.
go ahead, Andy.
You go ahead.
I was going to say, you'll probably be hearing a little bit more from me this summer into fall. Our library levy was removed from us in House File 718, and that was about 70% of our operating budget that was carried on that levy. This year, Chad Bird, our city manager, backfilled the budget with our local option sales tax, our penny tax. We only have enough in that reserve to do this once, and it wasn't just the library budget impacted, it was several city departments, but we have the most to lose because we lost the special levy that was carrying a big portion of our budget. So we've got a few things coming down the pipeline on the Burlington City Council side of things, but I'll be doing my best to keep everyone in the loop. And Rebecca Teeter, I'm sure she does a good job keeping you all up to date, but again, if you've got specific questions about legislation or past legislation, then don't hesitate to reach out. I'm happy to chat about any of that. Was that your question?
Yeah, exactly. If there was any discussion going forward yet of how that was looking like from a budget perspective, if you're looking at making cuts in the future or other income sources, or if any of those answers had come up yet.
Yeah, we're looking at the possibility of utility franchise fee. I know you all had some conversations over here about the same thing. Burlington approved a utility franchise fee a couple of years ago, but we've been sitting at 0%. And Chad has been crunching the numbers, and he's looking at potentially a 3% rate on that utility fee. But if that doesn't happen, then we will be having some hard conversations with the trustees, either in finding our own alternative funding sources or making some severe cuts.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions for him? Well, thanks for stopping out and
Thank
keep
you.
us abreast.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Happy early Clerks Week. Thank you.
We'll move on to the council and staff reports. Kelly, do you have anything from Greg?
I know he was gonna come tonight and then kind of changed his mind, give himself one more day. Hopefully, gonna try to come in tomorrow, so.
Mike, for Public Works?
You probably have seen Casey's Store is on its way. They're moving dirt and getting that project started. Trail's moving along. Possibly Mother Nature permits. They'll be pouring the deck on the trail Friday is what they're planning for now, to do the first pour on the deck. And they're coring out at the mall parking lot, starting that to start putting the curbs in. They're trying with rain one day and nice the next and rain the next day. It's kind of hard to get a lot of that done, but they are making progress. The pump's back in the west lift, so we're back at full capacity there. The one in the east is still being repaired, and we're having some issues at Brushtown. They're going to be coming down to pull those two little pumps and see why they're not pumping the amount they're supposed to. I don't know what's happening in there, but I'll keep you posted. Crack sealing has started. Once again, they're behind schedule because of water on the streets and rain. They're trying to work when they can, so it was supposed to be a 4-day process, and we're at 5 now, and it depends on how many days they get held up with rain, so we're trying to keep pushing them on through. I&I issues that you've all heard me talk about many times in here. We were running 400 to 500,000 gallons into the plant on normal runs. With the amount of rain we're getting, we're at the point of danger on the lagoons again, cresting. These rains that just keep coming back to back to back, we can't process all this rainwater that's in the sewer system. There's a good chance if it keeps up, we will be contacting DNR and have to put pumps in and bypass pump. As Hans mentioned the other night, this is a third plant that we put in, and we can't keep building plants to take care of rainwater. We're going to have to start addressing this rainwater issue that's in the sewers. My guys were out in the rain all day Friday. They've located some more issues with SEC. I'm working with them right now. We got some major problems with I&I out there. We're going to keep moving from parking lot to parking lot and investigating with Dye. And like I said, just because it's raining don't mean we're sitting in the shop. That's the days we're out with our raincoats on, pouring dye in and following red dye in the sewers and locating I&I and trying to take care of what we can. We've done a lot of manhole foam filled and everything else. It's a battle that keeps going on. We've done several smoke tests in the city and we've never moved forward with them, but just so you're aware of it, we're at that point at the lagoons again that we're having to watch them really close. We're going to have to start bypass pumping again. That's all I got.
Police department,
I don't have anything tonight.
nothing? Nothing.
Usually that's a 30-minute.
Oh, I know I can mention, we do have the building permits, online now, right down to the payment online. I do think we need to come back and, have a resolution passed to add Payrock as one of our pay options. But the permitting application is online and ready to, be filled out. In fact, I think Mark had 2 people fill them out online today, and they were really happy about being able to do that.
So a person can go to our city website and find the permit and just fill it out and
Yeah.
submit and move on?
Yes.
Okay,
And
thank you.
we'll be adding more applications online, but right now it's just building and sign. I think there's a place you can file for, report a nuisance on there also, under community development.
Super.
And Brad's gonna be tweaking the website a little bit, so it's more direct, getting there more directly than it is right now, so.
You gotta get a building permit for nuisance?
No, but you can report a nuisance on that same page.
Okay.
Angie, do you have anything?
Hey Kelly,
Yes,
the nuisance one isn't up yet. You can only search for nuisances that are reported already.
Okay.
It doesn't have the option to do nuisance yet. So that'll be coming.
along with a few others, so.
Council reports. Bingo.
Yeah, just want to remind the public, this time of the year, we have a lot of, destruction from winds and stuff like that, trees down, and they may so the scams will be happening now. And if they have somebody come up to them and ask them to replace, a roof or something like that, they might want to check with the city, make sure they got a permit. It's just an extra precaution to make sure they're insured and everything like that. Also, I wanted to congratulate Amy. I'm sure Andy's real proud of his sister for a Woman of Distinction for 2024, so congratulations on that. And one last thing, they have an honor flight right now that's coming in from Washington, D.C. to Cedar Rapids. It's for Vietnam veterans. They got to go visit, and it's a big deal. And I have an uncle that's on that flight, Uncle Darrell D. Davis, and that served in Vietnam, so I just want to congratulate them and welcome back. So.
Andy?
I just had a quick follow-up from Mike on the stormwater issue. Do you know, when we do rental permits, do we check if the sump pump's going into the sewer? Is that?
Kelly, I don't think we do anything right as of now, do we?
I'm not sure if that's one of the things that he inspects, but I
Might
think
be-
it could be added.
Yeah, a future code thing to add, and then,
It's been in discussion. I've heard that when a house sells, that we have to inspect and make sure everything's up to date, but I don't know, we haven't moved forward with that as far as I
Yeah.
know either, so.
maybe, obviously that is a world I live in every day, and that would be tough, but on a rental permit, when we're already going in, we're in the property, I mean, that half of our houses anyway, maybe that would solve part of the issue, not all of it, of course, but, okay, thank you, that's all.
John?
No. Well, just to follow up on Andy, I thought we did discuss about doing that a long time ago. And the checking on when a property's sold or a rental. And I don't know whatever happened about that, but I know there was discussion about
Didn't
that.
we do that up on Van Wees with the smoke test, and we found quite a few people up that way were,
It was the whole city. It wasn't just Van Wees. There's reports in there. Is it twice, Kelly?
I know we've
Or
done it
three?
once. We found and repaired the things that we could on our end,
Yeah.
but there were some homes that were identified. We didn't do the whole town like that, just I think that one section for the homes, but I can pull it out again, look at it.
That's all I had, Trace.
Melanie?
A couple things. One, tomorrow we've arranged for a visit to KPI at 1 o'clock in the afternoon and need to confirm who will be joining us for that. I had Ringo and myself. Ron's a definite no.
you sure?
Yes, he's definitely, so, Teresa, will you be?
I'm a maybe.
You're a maybe?
I'm real close at one.
John, what?
I'll be there.
You're a yes, okay, good. So we'll proceed. I'll confirm with them tomorrow morning at 1 o'clock and assume it's a go unless I contact you. And as long as 3 of us make it, and love to see the rest of you there
I
too.
plan on being there, but I might have to duck out after half an hour if it's longer.
Sure. One, to have had an inquiry about if we allow candy at the parade this year, and I told him, yes, we would love to have you to have candy in the parade, so exciting, fun things. I look forward to the distribution of candy in the parade. And nice, I want to shout out to the Hawkeye for the article about the projects that have just started here in West Burlington, Work on the Trail, Alice Place, recognizing Dame Coffee for coming to town, and Casey's getting started, so just nice to get a little publicity for those construction projects that are starting. And then finally, Kelly, can you give us a short update on how things are looking for the pool this upcoming season? Anything you can share?
Kelly Benz is going to be managing the pool. She started out not wanting to work full-time at the pool, but she is willing to get started this year and maybe spend a little bit more time. So Kelly Benz will be managing it, and then Audrey Kirby, who's been a lifeguard for us for 4 years now, is going to be the assistant manager. And we have another one of our employees that has her certification that can help certify guards. So she's going to step up as a head guard for us, which kind of be the third in line for helping out. We're working now on just updating the personnel manual, clarifying some discrepancies between literature that's been over there and the manual, and looking at concessions, and just kind of trying to get things up and going. She's going to train with the Public Works guys and John over at the pool as far as testing, how to do the chemical testing, and run some of the slides and things like that. Once the water's in the pool, which I think they're estimating the week of the 20th, around the 20th of May.
15th, I think John wants to get it in, so it's got to sit for 3 or 4 days before we add chemicals and get it ready. That way it'll be ready for the lifeguard training and all that.
She's looking for about 11 more guards to feel comfortable with opening, but she said she is good with concessions admissions staff. So, and I know that they just held a certification class at the Y, and I think they're going to do another one one more in a few weeks. And I think we did that last year. We ended up, once the season started, we kind of just added a few more people doing certification. So hopefully, I know they're going to do swimming lesson registration at the pool on the 23rd from 6 to 7, and they'll sell season passes and coupon books that night also.
So that's May 23rd would be a chance to
23rd
sign
from
kids up.
6 to 7, yeah.
Great.
And she was going to put some that'll be in the newsletter that's coming out, and I think she was going to put something on Facebook too. We've answered a few messages on Facebook about it, so it's coming along.
Thank you for the update, Kelly.
Another new year with a new person managing it, which is always, it's tough. It's a lot to take on, brand new, so.
Thank you, Kelly. Are there any citizens' inquiries that we have? Seeing none, move on to the public hearing. Public hearing on the budget amendment for fiscal year 2023-2024. And no comments from citizens? Nothing from council? No? Good. I'll close the public hearing. We don't have any old business. We'll go on to new business. Number 1, considering a resolution approving a budget amendment for fiscal year 23-24. Angie, you just want to review some of the highlights of that?
Yeah, some of it is pretty similar to what we did last year. I put a comparison in compared to what we did last year. just like everything else, costs go up, things pop up that we're not, expecting or planning. Just some minor things for the public safety. The Motorola software was more than what we had budgeted. I think there was a rate increase on that. There has been a lot of repairs on police vehicles lately, so we had to do an amendment for that. Overtime, usually we do an amendment for, but there's safety grants and stuff that offset that. So really that's all for the public safety. Public Works was really not too much. Hang on a second, I'm on the wrong one. I have too many papers in front
They had a
of me.
fluffy budget anyway.
Here we go. Sorry, guys. It's been a long day. Start over. Public safety, overtime is the same. Safety grant covers that. Our insurance went up because we had some people switch over from single to family. We had an officer that we just hired, so there's an increase in there. Insurance, we all know the insurance rates went up for property insurance. The big one is the K-9, because obviously we didn't put it in the budget before. So I did budget that, but the money, there is money that is offset it, and it's, thus far, it's, all of it's been paid for by fundraising and donations and such.
How much was that? How much extra was that?
For what?
The canine. You said that was a big one.
What we paid, well, the amendment was for 31,000. The K-9 itself was like 29, I think, and they've raised well over $30,000 for it, so they've covered it all. There was a rate increase because to the Humane Society, their rates drastically increased this year, so we had a pretty significant amendment for that. Public Works, we had to do some reallocation of wages to meet the SRF requirements. So that's just a shuffle of around of wages. The same with the insurance, health insurance, property insurance rate increase. The pool, it's always the gamble on what it's going to cost when to start it up. We amended for wages, training, there was some pool repair, pump repairs, and then the chemicals. Economic development, that's the property we didn't budget for, and then the comprehensive plan and the zoning. But we are going to use the undesignated TIF funds to cover those. Every year we have to, as far as the general government rate increase for property, we always do an amendment for the water excise tax because we just really don't know. For IT, we had a change in the Civic Plus, which is the reason for that amendment. The capital projects for Mount Pleasant Street, the project wasn't completed on schedule. There was no money budgeted for it. So we had to amend for that, but we did get our reimbursement, so there'll be an amendment for that, and revenues. Water, the big one on the water is a tower, didn't get completed as scheduled, so there wasn't money budgeted in the budget for it, so we had to amend for that. Sewer, the stormwater improvement project was the biggest one for that one, and that was offset with it. It's going to be offset with the TIF undesignated funds. Otherwise, there's $6,000 for the apprenticeship program, and that's a grant that we'd applied for, and it will be offset with the grant money, but we probably won't receive that money until next fiscal year because you can only submit it one time. And we want to make sure that we can get, so we'll probably get the money for that next fiscal year. Insurance, fuel, We have some equipment repairs to the lift stations that we had to amend for, audit increase. Other than that, transfers, obviously with that transfer out of the TIF money that will transfer in to cover the other expenses. The revenues are listed. That really isn't a big deal. It's not something we have to amend for. We just have to amend for the expenses, and those are just, we got more money in the task force grant this year than we budgeted for. We have the K-9. We have the new business, and so the business, building permits are up because of the new businesses coming. We sold the, both public works trucks, the umbrellas. So those were amendments. The offset for the Mount Pleasant Street, SRF for the water tower, because those weren't budgeted, and then the transfers for the TIF. Any questions? Comments?
Well, that was a lot in a thumbshell, wasn't it? I'm glad I had you do that, because I'm like, yeah, I lost you in about the
Well,
third.
I had like another stack of papers and it was the wrong one, so I'm like, oops. So.
Anybody have any questions for Angela?
No.
Motion approved.
Support.
Motion with support. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed?
We need to do a roll call for that
We're gonna
one.
do a
Sorry.
roll call. I love rollies. Do a roll call.
Johnson,
Aye.
Lees,
Aye.
Young,
Aye.
Covert,
Aye.
Crowner.
Aye.
Motion passed. Item number 2 is to consider the second reading of an ordinance repealing ordinance 541 and granting Interstate Power and Light Company a non-exclusive 25-year franchise to supply electric energy to West Burlington and require Interstate Power and Light Company to pay a franchise fee to the city.
Motion to approve.
Support.
Motion with support. Any discussion?
Greg got a letter signed him saying that that is the only two projects, so I'm okay with that.
Any other comments? Roll call.
Young,
Aye.
Covert,
Aye.
Crowner,
No.
Johnson,
Aye.
Lees.
Aye. Motion passed. Item number 3 is consider the second reading of an ordinance repealing ordinance 542 and granting Interstate Power and Light Company a non-exclusive 25-year franchise to supply natural gas to West Burlington and require Interstate Power and Light Company to pay a franchise fee to the city.
Motion of support. Motion to approve, I'm sorry.
Support.
I've got motion with support. With support. Any other questions or comments or concerns on this? Hearing none. Roll call.
Covert,
Aye.
Crowner,
No.
Johnson,
Aye.
Lees,
Aye.
Young,
Aye.
Motion passed. Item number 4 is to consider a quote from Morning Sun Farm Implement for the hydro blower attachment. See that, we had talked about that during budget. I think that was John's idea to do that.
Well, you know, he was.
It gives us
He was
capability.
talking, or Mike was talking about having one that they have out there in the shop that's a back one, and they would have to continually back up with it. And I've done that before, and it just isn't going to work with a tractor as much as what we have. So that's why I brought this up, and I think that this is a pretty good idea. If you would have bought the TYL tractor, you probably wouldn't have had to have that second power.
We wouldn't have the width either that I need not to tip over on the hill, so it's,
You would have had the hydrant. But anyway, you know,
gives us capability to put any attachment on that tractor going from here forward too that we might want to do or change.
I think this will do you well.
Do you have any other quotes?
Just one.
No, it's just a Kubota tractor, so we went with the Kubota products that they're selling.
The only thing is, and I don't know how you solve it, is when you're plowing snow and you're right alongside it, it's gonna be just like what's on West Avenue. You're gonna have to get to it before it turns to ice, or
We
else
don't
this
plow,
thing isn't
we don't plow
gonna-
snow on West Avenue.
No, I'm saying it's just like the problem that's out there.
We don't go on West Avenue.
Do you mean West
You
Burlington?
mean
West
West
Burlington
Burlington
Avenue.
Avenue.
Sorry.
There's two different streets.
Sorry. You're gonna have to get to it when it's soft rather than when it turns to ice, because for it to work right.
Any other questions, comments, concerns?
Motion to approve.
Support.
Motion with support. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those against, nay. Motion approved. Then we'll go to item number 5, which is the renewal of an urban chicken permit for 410 Ramsey.
Do we need a motion to approve?
Support.
Motion with support. Questions, comments, and concerns?
Yeah, just like last time this came up, I don't think it's the right place to have chickens in town. I think that code allows for us to have exceptions for when properties outside of the kind of normal area of town where you have a lot of residences, where maybe your neighbor's a couple hundred yards away, so we can make exceptions for that. But I don't think it's to have farm animals 12 feet from you. So now I, of course, live next to this person, but I would vote on this anyway, no matter what. I just don't think it's right. I do hear them a lot. If you go out in my backyard, you can hear them, and you can hear about 7 dogs barking at them. So I'm not in favor of this one, nor am I any other farm animal in town proper.
One question. Kelly, have we had any complaints about this particular location or anything?
I was gonna ask Jesse, and I haven't seen him since I talked to you. 'Cause
Okay.
He's out of town at a conference, but Nathan might know if we've had any. Have you had any issues with the chickens at 410 Ramsey?
Yeah, we've been up there a couple times.
You what?
Not even really, I wouldn't say issues, but just got calls there. Jesse had us go there and talk to them about the chickens, about getting them out of there.
About what were they doing? Clucking, or were they
No.
laying eggs, or?
No, he just says that they can't have them there. I'm not sure why.
Oh, no, they have a permit to have them at 410 Ramsey. Council issued a permit for them to have them there, but I don't know if there's been issues with
Fired it out
those. There's a couple places in town that we've just recently determined have added chickens that we need to notify, but I think they have been out at 410 Ramsey and had to be corralled
That I'm not aware
a
of.
couple times, but I can't verify that, and I was gonna try to catch Jesse. I forgot he was gonna be gone this week.
Is this something we can table till
Do we have all the information?
we get more information? Is that something we can do, or?
Yeah, they have them. I think we want to make them, remove them until we decide about the renewal, so.
I would request to table.
Yeah, table till our next council meeting. We can get the information on if there have been any issues or not. Sounds like many of the neighbors are in support of them, and that sounds good. But if there's been an issue, I'd like to know it.
Yeah, and also would be, the dogs then, right? Is it, you were saying earlier that the dogs start barking because of the chickens cackling, right?
Yeah.
Then,
There's a lot of dogs in that neighborhood. My neighbor's got 4. I've got a lab in the back. They've got 2 labs and 2 Frenchies in the back. Right behind them's a husky. It's a heavy dog populated area, and when the chickens get a clucking, then the dogs start barking.
Should we do something about the dogs?
Dogs are in city code if you want to change code.
Chickens in the code?
It allows, it says no chickens. It says no chickens, no farm animals, unless we make an exception.
Well, I'd be in a world of hurt with my neighbors because I have this squirrel highway in my backyard. And they come and my two Scotties bark, bark, bark from one end of the fence to the other end of the fence. And there's just not one squirrel. It's a highway. I've got like 8 back and forth, back and forth. So, I mean, I can go out with the baseball bat and tone it down, but they go out again and there's a squirrel waiting for them to play. It's like, it's a never-ending battle. So, did you make a motion then to table it?
I did.
We have to
Support,
vote on the other one.
till we get the, to next meeting, and on requesting that we get,
Do you
the
want to take,
historical nuisance, if there's been complaints.
okay. Do you want to take your first motion back to approve it?
Sure.
Because we did have a motion and a second, so.
In that open discussion.
Yeah, and then I think, John, you seconded, so you're gonna take your second back.
Yeah.
All right,
Yep, yep.
all right, so motion is to table it until we receive more information, and in the interim, they can keep the chickens and,
Well, I think it's
Till we hear
until
it.
the next council meeting.
Yeah.
When we get it, rather than 6 months down the road.
Correct. The next council meeting is when I'd like to address this again. And if Kelly, you can have the
Jesse should be
information.
back
from
by
Jesse.
then, and.
Yep,
We may have a couple more requests actually at the same time.
good.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. And those opposed? Motion passed. Anybody have anything else to discuss or anything of that nature? I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Support.
All those in favor? Aye.